Welcome to today's video. And so we can clear the air and be very deliberate with today's video. This is going to be a video that's going to be about 30 to 40 minutes long. And we're going to be interviewing someone. His name is Adam Hancock. You can watch his actual interview with a podcast that we have called Real Estate versus Technology. In this video, we want to get very specifically deep into what is his standard operating procedures when growing his YouTube channel, what is his key performance indicators, and how does he focus on the income producing activities. So we want to understand, when did he get started on YouTube? Because YouTube is actually how he's had the success he's had with his independent brokerage and building his entire team. We also want to find out how many views he has on YouTube. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's in the millions. How many transactions, also how much income has he brought in for his team and his business? How did he get started? And then we're going to go deeper into what are his procedures and processes when starting to think of an idea to then actually sitting down to film the idea, the technology he's using, the editing techniques, and A through Z. So if you're someone that wants to get on YouTube and you want to maximize the opportunity of passively prospecting, leveraging your past efforts for your future successes, then this video is going to be action-packed. And if you stay into the end, what we're going to do is if you can't take action on your own and you're someone that is going to go through the process and watch this video and say, I need help, then we're going to give you two options and you can take on both of these options. One, to meet Adam for 30 minutes to go through the process of being able to pick his brain and ask him the questions maybe that I missed. And then on the other side of the coin, if you want to meet us here at Liftoff Agent because you need someone to do the heavy lifting and you have the money to invest in this process of passive prospecting on YouTube, then you can take advantage of one and or both options. We're a minute and 56 minutes in now. Let's bring in Adam Hancock. Welcome to today's, I don't know what you would call it, interview / opportunity just to serve our community, man. How's your morning?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. I'm super excited. Everyone out there can watch the original Real Estate versus Technology podcast episode to get a little bit more of your backstory. But I want to get into the brass tacks, the nuts, the bolts, and what have you. So let's get into the question, starting off with when did you specifically get started on YouTube? What was the date?
Well, I think I posted the first video January 2020. And I think the channel's history might exist like 4 or 5 months before that. But that was me opening it, maybe anticipating it. But yeah, basically January, I believe, was the exact date.
So January, and to year to date, how many videos do you have?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't pull that number. It was probably 400 or 500 as far as like history, full history. I've done between a 1 a week to 2 a week, and we can get into that more thing pretty much the whole time. And I've had gaps of lulls in between. So like the most I've ever posted is maybe 100 videos in a year if I did 2 a week, a little over 100, and then 52 if I did a 1 a week schedule. So that's how I kind of got to that number. And then at some point, very, very recently, I unlisted a few of the older videos just because YouTube is looping them back. I don't get crazy into that world as much as some other folks do, but I was seeing like stuff. I record a lot in real time. Like it's, it has time. It's not evergreen as much as a lot of people's. So it was being weird if you were a subscriber. So if you look at my channel now, all that to say is that it's going to show less, but it's about a 70 to 100 video a year since 2020.
Wow, that's amazing. And how many total views on the channel?
So this is a week old, but 5,743,000 and some change.
5 million plus views, everyone out there that's listening. That's very impressive, Adam. And so now, team, how large is your team from filming those videos to those views? What size is your team now?
The filmings, I do by myself. I still do by myself. I've been pressed on the record, sit down, filming clips the same way. We've gone shades of gray of that. Editing wise, I have an in-house gentleman just because we do like a lot of repurpose stuff as well. So he edits one of mine, and then I outsource the other one to a guy on Upwork I've had for a few years. But yeah, we're pretty no frills as far as that. The bigger team is the real estate operation because I haven't toured a client. I left, like I went into real estate and then immediately stopped touring. Like, I don't even know if I got 7 months. That was like, I was never had a prior real estate before YouTube. So I just had a different like perspective of what I was trying to do. So once I found out the lead gen was working and I wanted to control that, then I immediately left, and there was a lot of issues with that. But the bigger team, all that to say, because of our volume, is in the real estate brokerage. So I have a managing broker that I pay a salary to. And then because I need more commission control for the splits, and same reason we have an independent brokerage. So we don't have any, oversight as far as that's concerned. We could do whatever we want. We have the most agents I think we've had is 34, but honestly, I mean, 7 to 9 at all times do all of our volume because
Wow.
it's just, YouTube's weird. They call one person. I mean, you start to fall further from the tree. Then they were never really trying to get the agent that you're partnering with. They want it to be
Mhm,
like both of you. So
mhm,
it's very hard to like mirror that if you start to
mhm,
get a
mhm.
little. So I kind of
Yeah.
reined it back in, and conversion's the best. Five,
Wow.
6 people, honestly, even for big volume.
Wow. So this is 36, five, we'll say 6 to 9 are the ones, because if anyone's viewing and listening, like there's 1.5 million agents, right, in the country. Out of those licensed agents, the top 10% do about 90% of the business, which is about, we'll say 15,000. And I would say only the top 1%, which is going to be like 1,000 agents, if you will, or 1,500 agents, if you will, that actually can even do or is doing what Adam's doing. And you're not with EXP Real. This is your own independent firm, correct?
Yes, I own. Yeah, we've had a little. So I started with one, or what's it called? Realty One,
Yep.
independent, and then I was just wanted like to just do my own thing and be left alone. And then I was just trying to get around people that was doing a bunch of volume. I couldn't find anyone, and I'm from corporate finance world, so a lot of people were doing well. It just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. But when I came into real estate, I didn't realize how little people were. It's not taking a slight. I just didn't realize how little people were making and what they were doing to make that money. I just wasn't familiar
Yeah.
with the real estate industry. So I went to Keller Williams, I went to Compass, and I tried because I was trying to get around people that were doing more than me in
Yeah.
volume, and so I could kind of see if it made sense to me, if like there was anything I could learn or whatever.
Yeah.
And then eventually, people like more than I thought, because I think it's because people don't understand what YouTube is really, like especially at like these big corporate firms like Compass, and they just started to kind of poke at me, like wanted me to watermark my videos and all this kind of stuff, and so the independent brokerage was the only way because I do a lot of new construction, so at any given time we have 80, 90 million pending. So it's very hard to leave a brokerage because of that, because you're playing that both thing. So the
Yeah.
independent brokerage was really our exit. It was where I could stop taking volume in my own name and I could put all my agents somewhere else. And
Yeah.
that's really spurred it. And then I wanted it to be like, I didn't want someone writing like wearing a t-shirt with my own name on it. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
So I called it the Sunshine State Company. It was like I wanted the branding to be attractive
Hmm.
regardless of,
Hmm.
and a little like discreet and a little mysterious. And
Yeah.
but it was kind of like it was a product of like need. It was a
Wow.
necessity for us. Like I had to go independent was the only way that I could bleed out 100 million with Compass while taking more deals every day, because it's very like people get stuck at these brokerages that like I had to pay Compass back. I mean, it's crazy as how much volume we were doing. I had to like pay back the crawlback money and all those
Wow.
little honeypots. I think like
Yeah.
most people, it's just one moment of time where they're
Yeah.
like, they're kind of like, that would be interesting. And then it's not really what a lot of people want. So, yeah. So independent still 100% of our volume. I very recently, like very, very recent, like a week old, um, have placed my personal license with Real,
Congrats.
because I own a brokerage. So you can own as many brokerages as you want, and you can hang your license somewhere else technically. So what I'm doing right now is like partnering with other YouTubers. It would open up those opportunities,
Yeah.
and then nationwide referrals, stuff like that, where
Yeah.
I think it would help our team. And then also, if I can't help people if I don't live in Florida, right, with my own
Yep.
brokerage. So I'm kind of that's the plan right now, is to basically just give myself some options and see kind of how to scale beyond this and that kind of thing. So I'm technically at 2 places right now, but not like on paper. You wouldn't know.
So that segment right there can give you some context. Anyone viewing and listening right now, you don't need to be right at Real or Compass or whatever the case may be. And I love how you failed forward, Adam, from the perspective of, the honeypot analogy, right? Like everyone wants to have their hands in this honeypot, but at the end of the day, watermarks and so on and so forth. And when you get into YouTube, you don't want to have to go backwards and try to have to update thumbnails or whatever the case may be, because it was said, say, brokerage information on that video itself. So I love that you took that independent approach. And now for context, as far as, okay, so YouTube channel, hundreds of videos, we'll say 500 videos, we'll say 5 million plus views, right? 36 people on the top line of the team, and independent now going with Real transactions, top line.
So we've done, this is 7 days old. We've done a couple this week, but 680 transactions since January 2020. $475,832,000 and change of GCI. And again, my business is 100% YouTube based. It's just a unique origin story. So our whole database is pretty clean from that perspective. On that 475 million that we sold, 11, or sorry, that's gross sales volume, the 475. That would be nice if that was GCI, but it's not. We've done 11,753,000 and change of GCI.
$11 million.
And that's been the sense. And we really probably, COVID hit 2 months after I started the channel, and I live in Sarasota, which was an interesting timing. So I found out a lot of stuff fast. But we probably didn't start really like transacting in any meaningful way until maybe 6-7 months in. So it's really a late almost early 2021. Almost our 100% of our database history is from then till now.
I love that. So just everyone who's viewing and listening, who's not getting this, I want to make it super clear for you. You can passively prospect by putting videos on YouTube, which puts you into the driver's seat, right? And you can then have a smaller team, like you said, it could be 6 to 10 individuals who can, be transacting with these individual leads coming from YouTube. So first off, congratulations on the success that you had with that process. And let's talk about persona, because I know that for you, you talked about the fact that you wanted the freedom. You were someone that said, okay, I see real estate as an opportunity. I see the barrier to entry low, but I also see what the average agent's making, because 90% of the business is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals in the entire country. And who knows, you could probably arguably say the world. So you said, okay, like there's got to be another way. So then you went into this YouTube process. And so you don't transact, is that correct? Like personally?
No, I haven't taken a deal in my name in years. Anything that's listed as like legacy volume stuff. But okay. I don't at all. I really, like, we could go, I don't know how much we've gone into my origin story in the past, but a lot of why all of it happened was kind of like everything I started doing, I had no idea it was going to work that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, when COVID hit, all it did was like sped up time. So like all that like ambiguity, that's where I can be a real benefit to people probably of someone just starting on YouTube. Cause I just know annually how consistent my activity is versus what happens.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people choose what to do with that activity in different ways, right?
Yeah.
The way that I went in-house, and I don't have a real estate background. So I thought the average real estate GCI was already kind of high compared to like anything else I've done in my life to earn that same amount of money. Yeah. We were making 10 grand a month selling one $300,000 house. So I just really like didn't value it the same way. So that like 50-50, 30-70, like it wasn't how offended people got about that. I was going for like annual income.
Got it.
And so a lot of my stuff was just like, I just had no baggage. I just had, and then YouTube went crazy. And I felt like I was like, oh my God, I found this thing. And a lot of it was to timing. Like if I was 31, I kind of knew what it was when I saw it. Just because I was just old enough. If I was a little younger, I hadn't gone through the experience, or I didn't want to leave finance so bad, I didn't have an 8-month-old son that I was like missing bedtimes, I don't think I would have treated it the same way. And I think that it's kind of like it's an opportunity that I think is fleeting. And I was trying to guarantee that it would never go away because I knew what I was going back to.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of that, but like now that I've like refined it, I mean, I think the rhythmic nature of it, how I mean, like within 20-30 leads annually, like consistently, it's interesting. I think that's what messes a lot of people up is like, they're making stuff. It feels like they're just throwing things in the air and they have no idea what it's going to come back. And the whole reason it works in a big way is because it's hard. It sucks. Mm-hmm. Like no one has a background in this kind of stuff. And then there's no way to guarantee it. Yeah. There's no way to guarantee if like you're going to make videos for 2 years and everybody's going to not like it, or you don't live in the area that's going to work the same as mine.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, a lot of mine, like I fell backwards into it, but the minute I realized it, I was like, I think you asked about, do I transact? The minute I realized that, I was like, oh, this is where it's at. I was like, if I told everyone no for 3-4 months, I'm too busy, then they don't talk to each other. But what I could build is a report that says this many videos equal this many calls. And then whenever I want to do those calls, I can. And that's the way that I really thought about it, purely like 6 months in. I was like, I need to focus on this. If I go out with people, it's good to learn. Yeah. Because YouTube, you're taking a guess. People called, you're like, oh shit, they liked what I had to say. And then when they come in town, you know, because it's so relocation based, because it's Google search, when they come in town, then you're kind of testing the rest of the hypothesis,
Yep.
which is how you come up with all the video ideas,
Yeah.
because you like, it's all a guess and people are only interested in what you're saying, and you say
Mm-hmm.
the same five things and then you get the same kind of people, and then you become like the smartest person in the room about a very specific topic. It's very, very interesting how it works, but yeah, that's why I stopped transacting, because I thought if I could always do that.
I think the biggest takeaway from that segment you were just speaking on is the fact that individuals in the space of real estate, they don't really ask themselves the question as far as life by design. If you had the opportunity to create the opportunity of like the perfect lifestyle, right? For you, it was time and freedom with your family. And I see you post majority, if not everything, is magical experiences with your children. And what you're doing with your family, and like that's what is dear and near for you. And so I think that individuals who's listening or viewing this right now is like, what is it that you really want? What are you committed to? And how do you want to live out your life? Is it with a family or traveling or being autonomous? Because I think that's a big thing that you've done is you've made it so that way you don't really need to be involved. I mean, you literally can sit down in your studio, hit record, talk the topic, give it to your team and staff, they edit it for you, and then you can sit back and let those 30 leads come in on an annual basis. And those leads that are coming in already know, like, and trust and see that you're the industry expert. So there's so much less resistance. It's a guaranteed like close, right? Would you say those 30 leads coming in on an annual basis, like what's the closing ratio on that?
I go for total activity. Like if I feel that if people, and I've messed it up about people thinking I'm just a YouTuber at sometimes, I'm too discreet about it. But I figure if you're going to watch a video, most people would rather passively download something with no contact.
Mm,
There's a couple levels of people that will interact softly.
mm.
Um, so I give them two levels. So I'm not someone that would ever download a PDF personally, but a lot of people would, and they're probably top of the funnel. I'm someone that would still not want you to call me necessarily. I want to research further and further and further and further.
Yep.
But so that's why I add an email list. So I do a one email every 30 days that I handwrite. It's like kind of like a Tim Ferriss old school style, kind of like
Yep.
fitness influencers do. I write like a manifesto, no pictures, nothing, just brain dump. And that's probably our biggest conversion tool. And then I'm like, also the whole time I'm talking, people are aware I own a real estate firm. My phone number's there. The calls will be, for every 10 downloads, there might be what I would consider hot, which is a direct email, direct call. But what I've found is I can control how much activity equals hot. In generally, it's almost, I mean, like it's eerily consistent. Like for every 5-10 people or whatever, 25% on average year over year, 4 years in a row are hot.
Wow.
So if I get the total number up of activity, then it kind of everything works itself out. And then you get stuff like conversion's tricky, right? Because there's like a churn with it. But in ours, I think if you called from YouTube, especially the way that I speak,
Yeah.
like long form, like you're not watching randomly. If you
Yep.
call or email, then I'm like, I don't know how you don't convert 75% of those people at least. Like the only ones, I mean, I'm just talking total conversion. I don't care when. Like the only ones you should lose are like, left the market. Maybe they're already registered with a builder when they call you, something like that. I think there's natural attrition, but our conversion there is really high. So I get about 270 to 300 hot leads a year, and in turn get about 1,000 to 1,200 warm, which again are like still pretty high intent because it's just YouTube. But if I just convert, let's say 75% of those hot only, and you just said downloads didn't even matter, then we sell 150 to 200 million a year on that. So
Huge.
but that's like that. That's all I focus on. The only reports I run, like I almost have like a daily tracker that I run myself that is just like, are my YouTube videos contributing enough to the organization? Because we're talking like all the hopes and dreams. Like there's no Zillow, there's nothing. And our agents sit there and they wait on retainer because even sphere of influence isn't impactful enough to my business. I don't want them distracted. So I basically kind of have an exclusivity pot that I have people share in. But if I don't get those leads, like the whole thing, and so that's all I focus on is just, if I can get as many email addresses as possible, then 25% will call. And 2 years in, I mean, you're just like, you have a 10,000 person email list.
Wow.
that wanted you. I mean, at least like, you know, for all the insecurities you have, if they reached out to you from YouTube, when they answer the phone, it's like a novelty. They're excited. Like they're like, what is, you know, oh, he actually answered the phone. Like that's how people, it's kind of a weird thing if people haven't experienced it. Then when people come in town, you're touring the same freaking 10 places over and over and over because that's all you're talking about. Then people call and they want to see those places. And then other people start to like recognize you from YouTube. It's like a weird thing, but um, only the YouTuber I think feels it. And I think that's where all the power lies. That's what I try to tell people. That's why I haven't like coached it or anything in the past. I think there's probably things that I could share because I can tell you if you do these things, just wait. Something will
Mm-hmm.
happen. A lot of people quit before they wait, but
Mm-hmm.
you really need someone that is every day controlling their leads, like really feels like this many videos, these actions equal this, and can show you that to be like, listen, 6 months, no one calls. It doesn't matter. It's going to be
Yep.
fine. And then when you start doing that, it's really hard to stay bad at something, doing it 6 months in a row.
Yep.
So it's like working out. It naturally yanks you forward, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a really difficult thing to do if you think it's not going to work. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
it's weird.
yeah, what you focus on expands. And I think that
Yeah.
individuals need to think about the fact that like you could be on Instagram or TikTok and you could do funny skits or what have you. You can even talk about area specific content on that medium, which we've talked about before, Adam. But at the end of the day, if you just focus on just YouTube, just long form, anybody can do. And that's why we're filming this video today, because I feel that people get so caught up in like, yeah, it's not working. And we have Andrea, she's over in Dallas, Texas, and she started getting onto our scale up level program at Liftoff Agent, which we're doing video to blog, which is another awesome opportunity for SEO, plus doing the videos. And she's only doing one a week. And she literally from conception, I would say that was end of October, first video live November. And I spoke with her this weekend and she's already closed one transaction and has another lead coming into her second transaction. And that's less than 6 months. And she's now starting to figure out what is this recipe for success. And for her, it's like, I'll go film the content. I'll get it over to Liftoff. They'll go do the rest. And I could sit back and just look at, where are my numbers? Okay, my website views are going up. My leads are going up. Okay, the video to blogs. Okay, the videos themselves, the numbers. And that's where I think that like you're doing a little bit of all of the things and you built your own team. So kudos to you and anyone who's listening who's going to do that as well. That's where you can go set up a meeting with Adam right now, pick his brain and do it on your own, and or do that and also meet us, and then we can get you set up for success where both of these will marry together. But I love how you just ended that last segment with like, if you expand on the thought process of it's not working, then it's not.
Yeah, I mean, the point you made about the Dallas, Texas lady, it's really interesting because I've been like flirting with the idea of how I could maybe assist other people. And you know, we've talked about this in the past. Like I just struggle with the me telling you what to do, you go do it thing. So I've been trying to figure out how like more of a partnership thing where like I can run my system on other people's something like that, right? But I can't be on every camera. I don't
Yeah.
live everywhere, and so it's problem with what we do is you can scale B2B content all day, but if we're talking about geography, well, I do mostly, but you're at least talking about your own location. So no one knows 5 locations, but when I talk to people, I was surprised by how many people like were aware of all the other YouTubers in their market. See, that's one area that I've probably done like maybe to a fault of like, I go full blinders because I just want original thought. And it's like it's like that reticular activation thing, right? Like you're going to buy a car, you see there, but like that was one of the first things that everyone I've spoken to brought up. They knew all of them, and they're almost like not doing it because like there's way bigger YouTuber, as we both know, in Dallas than Andrea, the girl you're talking about. But the thing is not everyone chooses the same person. Never do. Like just being another flavor. Like my personality is going to turn a lot of people off. Like there's going to be a number one, but
Yes.
like all that everyone's confidence should come with is like, you don't want to know how many realtors are in your market anyway, right? Every other house on your street's probably a real estate agent. You don't want to know that. But YouTube is a low barrier entry, no barrier entry, really. I mean, I filmed on a phone in the first 3 years, I think, but it sucks. I mean, it's like, unless you're a video person, which I'm not, like, everything you're doing, you have no skills in. You don't know the tech. Yeah, I mean, because especially if you're a lifelong real estate agent, you don't know anything you're messing with. It's all a learning curve. So it's easy to like take that, like, I'm going to have other people like set my stuff up, do it for me or whatever. But if you can keep the video yourself, 4 years in, I still have to make myself do it. Like that's the biggest thing that people need to do, is just make yourself do it. Like you got to make yourself sit down and do it and believe what you have to say. But anything else that prevents that is the whole issue. Like it's just, I mean, that alone is the magic elixir. Is if I knew I could wait people out. Like that was my original intention. I had a full-time salary. I didn't need the money. And I was like, I'm going to go pure and I'm going to make videos as long as humanly possible. Because if I win, I'll own it. If I don't win, I'm in the same place. But I knew that I could wait people out. I knew that, like, you know, I still get up and try to work out every morning, and like all my buddies, like over time, have fallen. So I just have that little like part of my personality that's broken in a way where I like that kind of dirt stuff. But that would be my number one thing is like, it's hard to stay bad if you try to make 104 videos a year. It is hard. You run out of things to say. You have to get smarter. You have to learn. Don't learn about YouTube, in my opinion. Have better things to say to an audience. Learn who would search you. What kind of customer? It's not a random real estate person. It's not a listing heavy thing at all. They're not looking for a real estate agent. They're looking for information. If you're the conduit, then you'll win. And if you make crazy volume, then you'll physically have to learn, because you're the only person in that dark room that has to sit down and say those words. And you don't want stuff on the internet that you don't believe in. You don't want to read other people's blogs or articles and try to do your own version. One of the main things that people give advice that I've heard is to go to people's popular channels. And again, this is my personal opinion. And then look at their most popular videos and do your own version, because they've already proven the analytics work. But you don't know why it worked. And you don't know how big their channel is, if you'd have any shot, as cliche as it is. I mean, I think if you had blinders on, you had no idea how many other people exist, no one's going to pick one personality. Not everyone. There's no way. Girl, guy, age, everything. And then there's not 50 YouTubers in every market. No. So like, and then even if there are a couple now, even the big ones, like at some point they're like, I need to stop doing this. They try to outsource it, or they start coaching instead, maybe full-time or something like that. So even the big ones are going to fall off, because the minute it's not them on camera, I don't think it works the same. So yeah, I mean, I think just low competition volume on YouTube is how you'll win. And even if it's high now, everybody gets excited, but 75 videos in every week, you're like, come up at the top. Like, you know, it's, that's what I like about it. It's something that like forever, if real estate doesn't go away completely, you should be looking at how many people move to your market, not how many other people are selling. Net migration alone, like, you know, and not even net migration, gross migration. So like Florida net migration is like always up there with Texas too, like 200,000-300,000 a year, but it's 700,000 people that moved in. Doesn't care about how many people moved out. You can get their listings too. So all you're saying is like, if I get the average, what is 450K, I think, average sales price in the United, something like that. A lot of markets I've looked at. So you're roughly, for every two, you have $1 million, and 25 million as a single agent is crazy impactful. I would argue that my premise is, I think 100% of agents, that if I just had them do exactly what I do in any market, even like not even like random stuff in the middle of the country, like Ohio is a good example, could do 10 million. Easy. And and average commissions, let's say, I mean, ours is 2.5 because we do a lot of new construction, but a lot of people are higher than that. I mean, that alone is a game. It's a life changer, you know. And then you could figure out, do you want to just do video and outsource it, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you need 10 people to call you all year.
I love that. I love that. I love that.
I think it's super doable.
Yeah, and just to give some contrast, so like we talked about earlier in the video today, we talked about, like, say if it's 15,000 agents that do about, say, 90% of the business, the top 10% across the country, right? And we take that down just to 1%, even 2% at 2,500 agents that are actually having success on YouTube. The barrier to entry is really low. Like you said, flavors, pick your flavor, and also pick your heart. Do you want to go door knock, and do you want to be ejected? Do you want to make those phone calls for sell by owner or FSBOs and get ejected and have to deal with that, but they can't see you? Then go do that, right? But then, is it something that could be rinse and repeat? And what I love about YouTube is that if you could challenge yourself to get out of your own way about your hair, how you look, or how you sound on camera, the nerdy part in me, and I think you too, Adam, anyone who's listening that likes like the data, is like you can wake up every single day and you can look at the video itself and you can look at what is the average duration of time watched, where did they drop off, what videos are trending the most, what additional subscriber count did I get, how close am I going to get to monetizing my actual channel, where I can start to see additional source of revenue, because if I can monetize, then I can actually make some cash or make a little bit of money. We had Jeb Smith on our podcast of Real Estate First Technology, and he's already making enough money to pay for all his actual like way of life. We have a website and he's indexing on Google with map and search engine optimization. And so long story short, viewers and listeners out there, you need to ask yourself, what are you committed to? What lane do you want to be in? And I think, Adam, YouTube is one of the best lanes to be in, because you're not getting data when you go door knock. You're not getting data for making phone calls. Yeah, basic data. Okay, cool. I made 100 calls today. I had 50 pickups and I had 20 okay conversations and I had 5 meaningful conversations and I got 1 listing appointment. Okay, cool. You want to do that every single day, then you're not going to be able to be there for your kids when you want to, especially when in the back of your mind, you're like, I got to close another transaction because I have bills to pay. Instead of looking at data, putting out videos and just critiquing yourself from the perspective of being by yourself in your studio office or your home office or your backyard, you know what I'm saying? And you already have a phone. So just bust out your iPhone, put it into freaking cinematic mode, get a little freaking DJI mic, make sure you have good lighting, and get to filming.
Yeah, I mean, the one tweak I have on that, like, because I think paid, all of it has its place. And I get like it's easy, like we're doing well for me to continue to do YouTube videos. Another great thing about it is like the rich get richer kind of thing, just because I know 100% what works. We're big enough where I can be patient, and that's the patient is the win. I mean, patient is 100% the win. You got to make like not completely selfless. People understand who you are, but you got to try to make selfless content. And the one thing I've seen about like the door knocking and all that, I think, you know, you got to pay your bills, right? Because I would argue that you got to do whatever it takes to be patient with YouTube. Don't let YouTube be an aggressive thing. It's not going to solve your problems quick. It could solve your problems forever though. So you got to figure out how in the dark you can make money, and then be patient here. Like these are 2 separate areas. The only problem with those other areas are like, it's Blockbuster, it's Redbox. When that's done, it's done. And then I see a lot of people, but I get why people do it. It's if you wake up every day and you're saying, how do I make money? Those are exact recipes, right? Those phone numbers exist. Those doors are somewhere where you could go and do them. A lot of people have made them work, you know, like I spoke with Brian Casella many, many times, you know, and I think, you know, if you're going to do that, I think you need that level of passion. I see a lot of people do that, but even if you did, I would argue that think about your own family. I mean, when's the last time you've picked up a random number? Do you want, like, there's 400 cameras at everybody's house now. My wife at home with my youngest son, I want some stranger knocking on the door, trying to like say, oh, John down the street, and do that whole dog and pony show. And then at what point are you not going to you're not going to be really allowed to knock on doors? Because think about like now, how much more invasive does door knocking feel now if someone knocks on your door versus 5 years ago? It's big like, so what I would argue is that the beauty of having a little thing like that, like Zillow or someone that you even if you're on a team, it allows you to build this thing that you own, control, and you don't have to go back in time forever. What I would say though is what I don't see people do is I don't see them treat the YouTube as serious as they treat that other thing. Everyone I talk to, it's like, I'm going to add a little YouTube this year. And I would say that it's the only thing that matters. There's nothing else. I would devil's advocate in a room very confidently, at least on my opinion, of like, what else could you possibly be doing every day better? Like social media to me is passive. Blogs, especially in a world of AI, the chance you're going to break through on blogs, like as a distorted approach, is way more difficult. It's saturated. I mean, look at the way Google's summarizing information at the top now. And then people pay, I know people that pay like 20, 30 grand a month to have like webmasters do blogs on their behalf. So as an independent person, it's going to be very difficult to break into those spaces. What will never go out of style is doing something every day that kind of is hard and sucks. I've said it a million times, but I'm like, but you should do it. Like, if I figure this out, I don't have to do anything that I don't like anymore. So you should, why make one video if you can make 2? Why make 2 if you can make 3? And I think there's a point of diminishing returns and burnout and that kind of thing. But I think people think about YouTube a little too much like it's episodic. It's not. Like, so you make
Mhm.
three in a row, your audience isn't going to be fried by that. Most people aren't. Most people that watch don't subscribe, right?
Yeah.
Every channel I watch, I don't think I'm subscribed to because I don't want the notifications, and they don't watch them in order. So what you need to do is have as many at bats as humanly possible. Like I do one video that does like 150,000 views, and I do one that I think's better, spent me twice as much time, and it does like 800. And I'm like, all right, well, you just can't predict it. But if you do 300 videos a year, 200 videos a year, then there's a lot bigger chance that 15 are going to pop off.
Yep.
Plus, you can go top of the. We could get into nuts and bolts as much as you want to, but we could go. You go high, low, high, low, high, low. Grow the subscribers, popularity bias, leads. Those are two different videos, 100% of the time. And you see that with
Mhm.
like Jeb Smith's channel is a great example. Is like that channel, that huge one. You know, he talks very top of the funnel real estate housing market in general. The reason that he probably has that second channel, and he's a great guy, he's very pure about it, is because the people that are calling on that second channel like are going to buy real estate.
Yeah,
The people on
exactly.
the first, they like the hysteria a little bit. So one's going to always be bigger than the other, you know?
It's so true, and I think individuals, like, it's still such a very, very beginning market. And I think the big thing also to combat on what you said with the blog side, what we like to do is after the YouTube video goes live, we do a video to blog to try to then increase additional viewership opportunities with that. And then what Jeb Smith does is he went deeper into a community centric actual map on his website with good content, which typically it's mainly about cities, not communities. So I think that
Amazing.
there's different ways to articulate the way that you go between the cracks and not go so high level from that perspective of like, what is mass market talking about? Like 101 buying a home, 101 selling a home, the basic mass market stuff, AI, all that type of stuff. It's very hard to combat with. But when it comes to even with AI, like AI is not replacing, and I saw some ad today, some guy saying like, hey, let me spend 15, 20 minutes with you. You'll never film another video again, and let our AI go ahead and film videos for you, which is okay to a certain point, but it's not authentic. And I don't think that's really going to take over like how it's taken over with blog writing and what have you for, say, the other stuff we were talking about. So I think video is going to be something around for a while that agents can really be able to build no like, trust in their sleep with.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, and the better way of, you articulate it much better than me, but the better way of how I think about the blogs versus YouTube
Yeah.
is I wouldn't attack anything other than YouTube specifically,
Yeah.
because if you do video first, you can create the rest from the inspiration from the video.
Yeah.
The transcript from a video, like I've filmed like probably 20 to 40-minute long videos on average. That's a lot of words. You can write a lot of like the benefit of the AI would be like the greatest assistant of all time. It's a
Mm-hmm.
ripple.
Mm-hmm.
And I would attack topics that people are looking for. You're
Yeah.
stepping in front of it. You're not saying you should look for this. You're just stepping in front of something people already want.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like be the most authentic person that answers their questions in the way that they might like it. And then to your point about the AI video, yeah, I mean, that's one where I can't even see a line of sight to it. I mean, I could see it replacing like marketing videos and influencers for sure. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of
Mm-hmm.
these, because people don't care as much about who's saying it. But in this world, I think the market, it's the same because I'm more of like a lead generation company, more or less. We do a lot of new
Yeah.
construction. And I've thought about many times, like, you know, the better mousetrap here would be to refer directly into a builder. But
Mm.
it's the market that's preventing it, which is going to create all the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. The people that are calling you, they're calling you as their individual realtor. Not a single person calls me and thinks they're going to get someone else. I'm not saying they're going to get me specifically, but they're calling a person. They're not calling a system. And so as long as people feel that way about a real estate agent,
Yeah.
then they're already going to have a real estate agent when they go into that builder. Builders want to compete with each other. So they
Mm-hmm.
think, you know, and they don't love the idea of referring directly in and them doing all the work. So I just think that for the next 5-6 years, it's the buyers that are going to control what happens. And until like all the people that our average caller is like 58,
Mm-hmm.
until of them kind of age out of the market,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know if in anyone watching this YouTube lifetime that will be an issue. But I don't know if there's anything else you could say that about. But like you could create like 2 YouTube videos a week. This is why I would create more. That can be all of your social media content. That can be all of your blogs. That could be, I mean, LinkedIn is a super underrated opportunity. LinkedIn
Yeah.
blog ranking is incredible on the first page. The way that it shows chapters and all that kind of thing. So I think kind of what you guys do as a service, which is unique, is that you just you're like, you got to do the YouTube videos. That's the only reason it's going to work is because you're doing it. But the minute it's done,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then why not, right? It's just more at bats, more, and then
Mhm.
what you're doing with Jeb and like that kind of funnel you guys build. I think even like I previously viewed it as just separate opportunities, right? Blog, video, but what it does is I think Google and YouTube, video Google likes
Yep.
history and
Yep.
they like understanding what you're doing. So I think if you have a bunch of tails, kind of like the old backlink system, I'm
Yep.
sure you're more than familiar with.
Yep.
If you have a bunch of tails that link to a thing where it's like, oh, this is the greatest information source of all time for this one topic, then I think in a world of AI, that's going to be, even like YouTube has released an AI thing
Yeah.
recently where like they're going to want more credible and less sources to say the same information. So if you can get a stronghold on it, and it's just way easier to talk for 30 minutes than it is to write something.
Yes.
And then it's like writing down the words, and then chat is incredible in that world. And you
Yeah.
can be like, listen, don't take any liberties. Use exact quotes from me.
I love that. I love that. And I know we're getting closer to the end here, and I appreciate everyone's time and attention, and also, your time as well, Adam. And I think that the biggest thing is like you hit the nail on the head. Like if you're listening and viewing, to keep it simple, just start with YouTube and going that direction. The video blog, the website, maps, all the other stuff is fine and dandy and all. If you have the budget or if you want to have a conversation, cool. Liftoff agent would love to have that conversation with you, no obligation, just to kind of paint the picture. But moving on, as we get closer to the end of our talk here, I want to give some practical next steps actions. So someone's now at the end and they're like, okay, like I'm probably going to set up a meeting with Adam. I have some more questions, and hopefully we can answer those questions. Like, what is like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps if I was to be like, no channel, no name, no nothing? I'm like, all right, Adam, you inspired me. I'm gonna get started right this second. What would you tell someone green?
So I'd focus on the conception planning mostly. If I'm sure everyone has like an iPhone 12, 13 plus.
Okay.
They do amazing. Cinematic mode really added that it looks pretty good inside too.
Okay.
I'd go ring light, film in a studio if you like at your desk if you can, just because of control. Like it's hard when you're outside. You don't want all these outside conflicts when you're new. You don't
Okay.
want people looking at you, any of that kind of stuff. So I would outside's nice for lighting, but I would sit inside. I'd had a ring light, phone, and then not worry about that at all ever again.
Okay.
Airdropping to the computer is nice. And then I would work on conception. So you got to go minimum 1 a week video, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
You need to pick a date and time, a day of the week and the time. 100% of the time do that, because you need to start building a history. Not everyone watches at the same exact time, but you need to find out what people want and then refine that slightly, right? I would try to come up with come up with a plan of basically, like if I'm doing 1 a week, that's 52 topics. I try to come up with them, but not random. A lot of people come up with a lot of topics that I've spoke to, and they're like, now I just come in and pick the flavor this week.
Okay.
I would try to come up with like, I'm going to basically be this solution. So people are trying to relocate to your area. What you should do is you should download this tool called Keywords Anywhere.
Okay.
And then you should use that simultaneously with TubeBuddy. So one's Google search, one's a native search for YouTube. What you want to do is you want to think in your head, don't watch anyone's crap. You want to think in your head what someone would be Googling that might be looking for information. You want to Google it with that tool. That tool will tell you what they're actually searching. A lot of things that you think are searched aren't searched. People want to watch a lot of different people answer questions, but people only ask the same like 2 or 3. Like people aren't getting real unique with their Google search. My best advice would be like, Google like you would. Like you're not writing full sentences. You're not writing weird things. You're not using any weird words. And then that tool immediately tells you from all the searches of what you did versus what actually searched, the results.
Got it.
I would find, and tell me if this is too much, I would find stuff, if you're on a brand new channel, you need to rank number 1 for low search topics, moderately low searched. I try to find stuff that was between 150 and 450 monthly searches. That does not mean that's your cap. Like my second video, I got like 67,000 views on, and it was the Google's 450 searches a month. But you need to show up in the feed. You have to show up in the feed. You're not going to rank for the same topics that I ranked for today. YouTube lets you earn respect and loyalty and credibility over time. That's why you need to start now, because you need a history. It's just like Google. blogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
YouTube's going to give you more at bats if people continue to like them. Then
Mm-hmm.
that's the algorithm, basically. So find topics that are between 150 and 500 monthly searches.
Got it.
Don't worry about the what people are paying on top of the clicks or any of that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't do them randomly. I would try to exhaust the best possible topics first, and then move on. If you can do eventually 2 videos a week, that will let you do my favorite recipe is your channel needs to be as big as possible, and you need to be getting leads simultaneously. Like,
Mm.
and if you do 2 videos a week, that allows you to go high, low, high, low, high, low. If you do 1, it's very hard to cover enough topics before the year expires. So popularity bias is real. If you look at a feed and I have 40,000 subscribers and the next person has 100, not everybody looks at that, but like you subtly do.
Mm.
And anyone thinks people are smarter that are more popular potentially. So they're going to be 2 different crowds though. If you go just doom and gloom, like the housing market's going to crash and stuff, your channel is going to be huge. No one's going to call you, and you're going to end up with in a golden handcuff situation of YouTube monetization. You got to continue to make these videos because people expect them, but it's not giving you the life you want. I'd rather have 1,000 subscribers and be making all the real estate money, and then no one's even copying me because they don't think it's working, because everybody's just looking at you as a voyeur. That's what I've seen a lot. So I would focus on conception planning, like best places to live. Probably one of the best topics you could possibly do. Your channel's new, mine's not. If we're in the same market, YouTube's going to give me so many more shots because I earned it. Like I've done this a bunch of times for 4 years. You need to do best places to live in blah, 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 and then find the other word that's behind it, or the long tail or something like that. Because you're going to attack a topic that I'm not going to do, and you could rank. So I would try to do that. And then I would not plan too far ahead. That would be the best piece of advice I could give, is not real time for the market, but real time from a thought process.
Got it.
Even the way I record, I try to like almost to a fault stay in my own head. I don't read anything. I don't watch anything. If I see an interesting title of an article, I don't read that article. I just say, oh, that'd be cool. I make up the whole video. I shoot for a length of time at minimum, and then obviously I can't stop ever talking, so mine end up longer. But if you have 5, you should have an intro, bullets. Like I don't go. I'm pretty like old school with YouTube, so I don't try to do like the really quick Mr. Beast stuff, right? Because we're selling real estate. Your average consumer is not going to be like bah, 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 in my opinion. So I would have an intro. I'd have a list of 5 or 10 ideas, and then I go conclusion, and then you can just say like, okay, how many words would it take to do 2 minutes and 30 seconds for 5 different things? And then I have an intro and outro, and that's a 15-minute long video. And I just wouldn't overplan. Honestly, I would sit down and record. Like what I do is still today, and I think that's why my video is like I don't script. I have ideas, but it's a pain in the ass at the time. But I sit down for a 3 to 4 hour block in a morning, and I say I'm starting and finishing the video in this block. That's it. So I'll research while I'm doing it. I will, I don't script separate than the actual video. But that's what makes my ideas unique, I think. So I would just do that. I mean, it doesn't take that much time. Find a topic you like, try to exhaust the best first. The best places to live is always going to be, do that before you do best place to live for families, best places to live for young professionals. And then when you get beyond that, then you go, what's below best places? Neighborhoods, communities. So go that level, and then you can do verses, you can do pros and cons. And then it ripples from there. But I would really like, what people struggle with is like how to come up with topics, what's the perfect topic. I want to do that. I would just basically come up with 1 topic a week, do it in real time. It's like basically like you exhaust the week and you move on. You exhaust the week and you move on. It's like that forever. There's no getting on top of it. If you plan a topic 6 months in advance in a real estate market, it doesn't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get caught up on trends or any of that kind of stuff. Just like people are trying to figure out how to move. Well, you should focus 100% on what would be the best possible way to give them information if they never called you. And then if they call you, you're customizing the information. It's just that alone. And focus, it's cliche to say, but it's 100% on what they might want, what you would want. If you've ever relocated across the country, it's way more convoluted than you think it would be. And then you're like, what would be the most helpful? Would I read blogs? Would I watch videos? If I did watch videos, how long would I watch? And then just make as many videos as humanly possible, and they'll call you and they'll tell you exactly what they want. And then now 100% what to make a video on. You make that next video. And it's the YouTuber is going to have all the power. That's why I would do it yourself. I really would try to focus on doing it yourself, even with help. Because when you learn it, the more than just the money, you're the only one that has that information in your head.
Yeah.
Because it's you. They're responding to you specifically. If I did the same thing you're going to do, my results would be different. So what you need to know is how you work, how your system works, not how anyone else's work, because it's not going to be the same. And then what a lot of people find out is a YouTube business doesn't give them what they actually want. You can always get a better camera and all that kind of stuff, but I think people are going to seek authenticity more than they seek anything.
Yeah.
So if your mic's bad, it's hard to listen. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I have two. I mean, I just recently went back to 2 Loom lights, and then I have a better camera now. But I mean, I had a videographer I had come in and set up the settings one time, and I just move it around the room. Yeah, I mean, hopefully that was articulate enough. But I would just focus on that alone. Like, force yourself to make one video at the same time and same day every single week. If you can get out in front of it about a week and a half to 2 weeks, that'll give you an editing cycle that you're going to really need if you can't edit yourself. I would advise heavily to never edit your own video. I mean, you can maybe edit 1 or 2 to know how it works, because that'll help you record better if you know what's going to happen when you give it to someone. But I would be like, you're not trying to edit. Like, if you get romantic about editing, like, it's going to kill you. Editing takes 4 times as long as the video anyway. So I would try to, from the very get-go, I try to outsource editing. And then I would try to record where it's easy for them, so it's controlled cost. And I would try not to outsource things that would make your videos look the same as everybody else's.
I love that.
So really think about the words yourself. I mean, I really try to think about the title myself of what I'd click. TubeBuddy has a nice tool that shows it in the feed. So like, I just like look at it myself and say, like, what would I click? Like numbers, capitalization, all that kind of stuff. I really try to stay in my own head about internal user interface. Like, how would I absorb information? And I really try to market to myself, basically. The reason I started YouTube originally was, one, I needed time control, but because I knew that every single person in my market knew more than me about everything. Yeah. They sold more than me. I can't compete. There was nothing I could compete on. Yeah. But if they called me, not a single person to this day has asked how long I've been licensed, anything. We sold like a lot of the first year, but I was licensed for 3-4 months, I think, when I did the first sale. So, yeah, I can't harp it enough. I really think it would change people's lives more than they realized. I have not figured out a great way still to help people for pay to do it. So I haven't. But I think services like yours are really interesting because you guys aren't trying to replace what works. You're trying to amplify it. And that really, I can't think of any other way to run a real estate relocation-based business. Like, that is the whole name of the game. The first thing you're going to want to spend money on is like everything but the video, because you need to make more video. So like, if you're selling real estate and you're touring, you can't make as many videos, or they're going to be on the back burner, which I think most people do probably. If they're doing all the stuff that you guys are doing, then organically filming social media, even, could you have made another YouTube video? That's what I would argue. And like, and people get big and they get tired, and the business is big, they're tired, and the first thing they want to do is outsource the only thing that works.
I love the videos. They light me up, and sometimes I have to tone myself down because I love it so much. So I'm still trying to figure out the recipe of success to kind of hone in my energy from that perspective. If anyone has any questions about video editing, you can go to like Upwork or Fiverr, and you can find someone overseas. That'd be a nominal fee to get that done, so you can film the content, get it over to that person. This has been amazing, Adam. We said 30 to 40 minutes. We're at 60, so y'all got bonus content. If there's questions that weren't asked, I would like them to set up a meeting with you. There's a landing page that breaks everything down that you built. That link will be down below, and then you're going to set them up for 30 minutes of your time, chit chat, and kind of give them some context.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts about, like, I think the kind of like 2 people teaming up is interesting model, versus like sitting in an ivory tower trying to like tell people what to do. So I'm going to probably venture into that space, maybe markets that I wouldn't have gone in. Okay. Or where in my expansion personal lead gen, there's gonna be opportunity for you to be an agent on the team and do the split like my agency now. That with Real, it'll exist in more parts than just the market I'm in now. And then I'm also gonna do collaborative content where I'm gonna own a channel and do videos based on my own analytics and what I know works. in other people's markets and use them as the information source. So that'll be a good opportunity too. So the call, basically you can ask me whatever you want. I mean, honestly, like anything anyone wants to go through.
Okay.
But as far as like what I want or why I'm doing any of that is I am trying to figure out the way to be the most helpful in a way that also scales my side.
Yeah.
And I think the partnership thing, if we can figure out the ego thing and the credit and who's who and what it is and like the money part, I think that more people would benefit from being a part of a thing than being independent potentially.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen, right? Like a couple people get big on YouTube and they give all their leads and they change like 30 people's lives. That's basically what I'm going to try to figure out. Like what, if I can be helpful, if people should be independent, and then I think a lot of people can do their own thing and work with you guys. I think that's a great option. And I think that if they haven't earned enough to feel confident, because I know so many people are sensitive to the cost element, then I think there's a lot of ways to bridge. Like there's ways to be involved with you guys, probably not everything maybe.
Yep.
And there's also ways where you could be like, these are the two things that everyone does before they can afford to do anything.
Yep.
But if YouTube works, it'll fix everything, but they can know the cost differential of what you guys are offering versus what they would do it independently. And I think that's where the value misconception comes into play, is they don't know what your prices mean unless they try to do it independently and they find out that, oh, this isn't that different. It stacks up. But that's why I think you should probably go through all the crap yourself for 3 months and just, then if you want coaching or any of that kind of stuff, it's going to be more valuable to you because you're going to see what you need. So that's kind of the point of mine is like, I'm an open book, obviously. Not anybody even wants it, I don't think, but if you're going to call with me, I do think like I'll tell you everything I could possibly think of what I would do with your channel or what you should do based on my opinion of who you are and how I'm perceiving you. So that would be the point of my call.
I love that. I love that you're just very transparent, open and honest about like where they should proceed with this. So I love the last segment of what we're talking about as more of like a mastermind, so they can really be able to conceptualize like, do they want to go down this road? If they're already going down this road, they need to tweak some things and they can ask you, reach out with you for that call. And then for us, like we don't do any of that high pressure stuff. So we're just going to be in a vertical, an opportunity to be the catalyst that can help you decide on, hey, you're going to go this direction, you're going to that direction. Do you have the budget? Do you not have the budget? Is it just a website and a map? And then you can do your own stuff and hire someone for editing. There's lots of different ways that we can approach this. And so I feel like Adam and I both just love to be of service. So this has been an absolute pleasure, Adam. I appreciate you jumping on. And I just hope that this helps anyone out there to just level up, think about there's other opportunities. Is it YouTube? Is it passive prospecting? I don't know. Hope that was helpful. So thanks so much for your time today, Adam.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. And links are all down below, everyone. So you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have YouTube videos that go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you all so much for your time today.